All the goth DJs and Twitch witches are hanging out on Thursday for the bad VHS rips, unblinking eyes, and fire by night. Thetans and Satans comes from an interest in the cult of Scientology, moral panics, Satanism, and how they set the tone for the extremist social media panics of today. We really earn our Weird Left Twitch badge with this show, watching the world go red light in reverse every Thursday at 9 p.m. Pacific on twitch.tv/echoplexmedia. Find our full schedule at echoplexmedia.com.
I am far away, oh so far you'll never tell. I am far away, oh so far you'll never tell. Ha ha ha. Beware of the monster. Be aware of the beast. Beauty on the outside. Behind you. Beware of the monster. Be aware of the beast. Beauty on the inside. Behind you. Beware of the monster. Be aware of the beast. Beauty on the outside. Behind you.
All right, everybody, welcome to Local Love. This is our no longer weekly, no longer live local music show. Probably watching this on YouTube, maybe catching it on Facebook Live or on Spotify. Welcome, everybody. Please do follow us on Twitch for our live shows at twitch.tv/EchoPlex Media. I'm here with Elise from White Fuzzy Bloodbath. Elise, how you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm excited to have you here. You're the second guest in the new format of this show, so we're real excited. I was super excited when you reached out because
Excellent.
I had such a good time the last time I talked.
Yeah,
to you
it's
guys.
really nice to be back. I think it's been 2 years.
Yeah, and it was all remote. You guys did such a good job on your remote setups. I was so happy that there were no problems. That you were all set up correctly. You sounded great. And
That is the way the future is heading. Just got to be partially remote or full remote.
And the rapport your band had, even over remote, was great. It was
Thank
great.
you.
I was especially kind of tickled at your drummer because he looks one way, but then he's like a total different. You know, he looks like kind of like a big tough guy, but he's like,
I know.
he's like not.
He is amazing. I mean, he's giant, right? Super tall.
Yeah.
Plays a baby kit. And he was actually premature when he was born. So it's pretty amazing how he's turned out. He's giant.
That's great, but like I said, it was good to meet you guys, and it was one of the first remote like interviews with more than one guest that went real well. So we were kind of stoked on that too, and we're glad to have you back on this new format of the show. Before we get into the tea that I guess is going to get spilled, and I mean it's not drama either. Some of the stuff you're going to be talking about is pretty important, I think.
Yeah.
But let's talk a little bit about your band. What's been going on with your band since you've been here last, and what's coming up next?
Man, so much. Like, we just opened for Soulfly, and we played at the Atrium in Santa Cruz. I very, very rarely feel complete or like, oh yeah, I did that. And after that show, it was amazing. I was like, wow, if that's the last show I ever play, that's cool, because I just couldn't believe that we opened for Soulfly. We also opened for the Stickmen at the Ritz, which are members of King Crimson. That was like a huge win. We're opening for Rolling Quartz this Thursday at Bottom of the Hill, and they are a all female band from South Korea, and I'm really excited. Also, because like all of them have different hair color, and I have yellow, so I want us to line up in a rainbow and take a picture. So that's my goal.
I bet they'll. If they don't, I'll write them. I'll write them a mean email if they won't do that with you. I'll be like, wait, why not? Why not? Why not?
I'm sure they will. I'm sure we'll like lock eyes and be like, and then take a picture.
Well, that's great. And you had an album come out recently. I don't think I have that, but
yeah,
maybe we'll make sure that I get it.
Let's change that right now. I'll just give it to you right now.
Oh,
actually.
excellent.
How about that?
That's great. I like getting.
Yeah, it's called Medicine.
Excellent. And if you wouldn't mind sending me a digital copy afterward, I'll give this to the media wench who likes to collect hard copies of people's albums. So
yeah,
I'm sure she gets this.
Really proud of that album. A lot of work went into it. 2 artists did the artwork on the front. As you can tell, it's really like bubblegum poppy, candy mountains. There's candy, syringes, pills, cupcakes, just a whole bunch of trash, sweet trash in those mountains. And then we had another artist do the smoke monster. And it's because that album is about like identity crisis, depression, basically like mental illness. Like it is just diving into the depths of darkness, and it's up and down. Really proud of that one. And when you open it, there's the fuck circle in it. So the circle is on the CD. It goes fuck, 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 fuck. I hand wrote every fuck.
Oh, that's cool.
Those are all the fucks I could give.
Those are all the fucks you could give. So if people were going to go pick up your music, where's your favorite place for them to go do that?
Honestly, anywhere. Like we are literally everywhere. Just type in White Fuzzy Bloodbath, go to your favorite platform, Apple, Bandcamp, whatever. Spotify, I don't care.
If it happens to be the first Friday of the month, make sure you hit it up on Bandcamp Friday so that the band gets the best split possible there.
Yes. And
pay for your music, people. If you have the money, pay for your music. If people can pay for watching my Twitch channel, people can pay for your music. My God. And when you're at the shows, if you're like, you know what, I got $20 left and I could either get a couple drinks or I could get that shirt, get the shirt. Make your friend buy you a drink. My God.
Yeah. It goes a long way. Helps fuel the gas tank.
Yeah, the bands do the best. The local bands, they all do the best when on their merch at the sales. Although it's an investment, because you can't you have to either, in your case, you invest a bunch of time and some money, or you have to have somebody else screen print them, and that ain't cheap, especially if you want it done right. So
yes,
that's exactly. The other thing is the band has already spent money on those shirts. So buy those shirts. Buy one for your child because they're not selling a lot of the smalls. So buy a small for your child or your friend's child. Make sure you pick up the merch. Make sure you buy the CD. If overpay for the stuff, if the thing's $20, give the band $25, because they're out there killing it.
And we also we have a ton of stuff. We also have new posters, which are of the album. It's kind of like a Where's Waldo. There's just so much to see in the posters. And we have t-shirts, we have CDs, we have stickers, all that. And we also provide what we call the package deal, because some people come up and they're like, I want everything, like one of each, please. And that's discounted. We literally bundle up everything, give it to the person at a discounted price, but we're still making money. I would say that right now, that is how band is making the most money, is through merchandise sales.
Well, right, because you're even if you're playing at one of the nicer venues in the Bay Area, they're still not breaking you off like kings and queens there, because the the venue, they're not. I mean, it's not like they don't want to. The venues aren't making a lot of money either.
No, the margins are very slim. Typically, I'd say, the last time we played the Ritz, we made almost $800 in merchandise sales, and the Ritz were pretty generous with us. They paid us out too, and that's fine. But it'd be great to be raking in 4 digits, 5 digits eventually. I think that if you're still like on the local circuit, that as long as you're breaking even, that's a win.
Right. You're doing pretty good. Yeah. I mean, pay to play doesn't mean you pay the venue. Pay to play means you had to pay for gas and weren't reimbursed. You had to
pay the venue.
Never pay the venue, never pay the booker. Never. If you made a bunch of money and the booker did a fantastic job and went above and beyond, buy the booker a couple drinks, whatever. Like, yeah, take care of that person if they took care of you. But yeah, don't pay to play. And if you can avoid it, don't even do the I'm losing money to play, because you got to grab dinner while you're out. You got to put gas in everybody's car.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you end up having to buy some equipment because something happens to a piece of gear during the show.
We just had to get new tires for the tour van.
Right.
That costs like $600,
Right. And when you're out at the shows, like, even if like you're like, oh, I don't like this band that much or whatever, like, just understand that they lugged all this gear out. They took 3 to 5 people out to the show. I mean, and now these people are adults too. They probably had to get fucking babysitters or something. Like, the scene here is aging, and there's not a lot of young people.
I know.
Coming
the
in
older you get, the more that you have to pay. It seems like when you're in a band.
Yeah. And I think the scene's aging because I think a lot of the youngsters are maybe not as inclined to pick up a guitar. They're going to be more inclined to like use the tools, the modern tools, the digital audio workstation to create electronic music. And that's cool too. But the rock bands are getting a little older, so. Make sure you drop some money on there, or at least spend some money at the bar.
Exactly.
And if you don't drink, which is fine, I don't know, buy somebody else a drink.
We do this really cool thing too, where we have a club. It's called the Bathheads Club, and people are members. It's on Patreon, and basically, they pay like this little amount every month. But literally, if they want to come to a show, they email us. And they're like, hey, I'm coming to the show. I'm bringing my friend. And we put them on our list. So it like works out for us. Like, we're getting monthly funded. We're getting monthly supported, which really helps. And then our fans and these people get to come out to whatever show they want. Like when we played Soulfly, I had a bunch of people of our members hit us up. They're like, oh, Soulfly? Hell yeah. So, it's a win-win situation for everybody.
And that would be patreon.com/white fuzzy bloodbath.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just making sure so people can.
Thank you.
And get on there if you want to support the band, even if you're not, even if you don't like the perks. Like we have Patreon. We don't really do a lot of our memberships through Patreon, but people do that to support us. I don't think people are going there for the perks, right? I think they're doing it to support our project. And I think most of the people for your project are doing it the same. And in some cases, they're like, well, I am going to take advantage of this perk. Thank you very much. But they're probably not there specific. They're not there. It's not like a quid pro quo sort of situation. They want to support the artist or the creator that's there. They're not. Yeah,
I would say definitely all of them are there to support, right? But actually, we do have members only memorabilia and members only merchandise. So it's like when you go to our shows, we kind of have the general stuff, but like we have the fuck hoodie, which is for club members only. We have the metal bunny girl pins, which is for club members only. And it's really cool because you see these people at the shows and they're decked out in their members only gear. And people are like, oh, where'd you get that? They're like, well, I'm a club member.
Right. And then maybe
do
you have experiences where people sign up for the Patreon at the show because they see some of that's super cool.
Oh yeah.
And I'm sure that you being who you are, you found ways to maybe help people explain it to people without it taking up a bunch of time and without it being like obnoxious or
Fortunately, let me grab it. Fortunately, it kind of speaks for itself. Like, so here's the hot item right now. It's called the fuck hoodie. And literally, this is the back. And it's what I like to say work friendly. You can't tell what it is unless if you get really close, but it's really fuck, like handwritten.
Right.
I hand wrote this and there's only a certain amount. So literally when people see this and they're like, oh, is that the fuck hoodie? They're like, yeah, I'm a club member. And then they go to the booth and they sign up.
Oh, cool.
It's awesome. Yeah. Cool. Dialed in, I'd say.
Dialed in. Very good. Very good.
And plus they're like super soft and really fun. And then you get to just wear a hoodie that says the F word at your day job. Nobody knows.
Nobody even knows. Unless maybe somebody else is part of the club, but then you don't talk about Fuzzy Bloodbath Club at work.
Yeah. Yes.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm glad to hear that you guys are on it. I know a lot of bands, and it's hard to have your merch game like that. I mean, it's work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad to hear that you guys are doing so well on Twitch and your merch game is doing really well too. It's you just got to see what works. You just got to dial it in.
I think people see effort, and then if they see effort and they also enjoy the content, then people are going to be inclined to support you because they're like, well, not only do I like what's going on here, but these people are, or at least this person, it's almost with these smaller projects, it's almost always one person busting their ass. And that's fine because other people have to have jobs or whatever, because these small projects don't bring in enough to support one person, much less a whole team. So you sent me a list of questions, which is amazing because now I didn't have to even prepare for this interview at all. I just stayed up late last night DJing after my talk show and then slept in today. So
easy breezy.
Love it. Ultra prepared. So you said being in a band is incredibly annoying.
Yes, that is true. Being in a band is incredibly annoying. Now, don't get me wrong. I love being in a band. It's who I am. I can't help myself. Like, I literally love music and I love that late 60s, early 70s sound. I'm always going to be a creative person, but bands specifically, like, there's multiple people and you're not in control of those people. Those people have their own lives. Things happen. People break their wrists. People get, significant others that aren't supportive of the band. It's hella annoying. Like, I would love to find people who are like me, who like make this my full-time job, who puts in the work, who does the back end work, who like pays the bills, who promotes, who makes all the advertisements. Like, I would love to work with other people like that, but I'd say that those people are very far and few between, and it is just so damn annoying.
And I can tell you too that the people who are willing to put the work in also tend to be kind of control freaks.
Totally.
I'm not accusing you of anything, although I
love controlling things, but I wouldn't say I'm a control freak, but maybe close to it.
I'm speaking mostly about myself, autobiographical here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but also it's cool that the other players in your band are good players, and they seemed, when I met them, they seemed lovely. I virtually met them, of course.
Yeah.
They seemed lovely.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we're not saying that you dislike the band. It's just that the dynamics of it can be annoying.
Yeah. I would say the majority of people who I've worked with, I love to death and I'm really good friends with. And there is a handful of people who I don't consider to be friends anymore and have made my life really difficult unnecessarily. But yeah, like, you gotta, like, it's kind of like, once you see a red flag in a band, you have to get rid of that person. You have to find the next person. So, like, the core group of people who I have now, I love them to death. I trust them. But there were times that it's like, you do think that you trust this person and they tell you everything that you want to hear. And then it comes to tour time and they bail because they get scared of touring. And it's like, whoa, homie, for the last 8 months, you told me you were down for touring. So, it's just, like I said, it's just really annoying, but I love it so much. Can't help myself.
So we have, in quotes here, we have stealing music. What do you mean there?
All right, strap in.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So, as you know, I have an ex-band member who also is an ex-boyfriend of mine named Dave Hottenstein.
Yes, luckily enough, I only share his first name.
Yeah. Well, one of his most recent accusations, which, by the way, he has not stopped bothering me since our breakup, which has been 6 years. And I wish that he would just move on. One of his most recent accusations publicly online is that I stole his music, that I don't know how to write music, that I haven't written any of the music. And then he proceeded to say that he taught me everything I know, how to play instruments. He bought all my gear, which is, like, the audacity is insane. Like, I just can't believe that this guy felt that he should state publicly that he taught me how to play music. I literally had a guitar, a bass before ever meeting him. I bought them in college. I learned how to play the violin and the piano when I was in elementary school. And this guy is trying to own me and trying to even own me, saying that he taught me everything and that I don't even know how to write music. It's just unreal, especially when I just released an album.
And this is 6 years after a breakup. This isn't like, and it's not okay when it's like immediately after a breakup, but it's much more common for this kind of behavior for a few months after a breakup and then for it to fall off. But my understanding of this is like, the only way I even knew about this after we had interviewed you the first time, you had just kind of mentioned in passing there was a former member that's no longer in the
because I was
band.
being professional and polite.
Right. And you didn't know us. You didn't know if we knew him. And then immediately after we put the podcast out, the guy's up our ass. And up our ass just about including the White Fuzzy Bloodbath music in the podcast. And I said to you before, and I'm going to say it again, that I feel kind of bad that we didn't stick up for you guys, because the guy, like, the way he came at us was a huge red flag.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't like, hey man, you know, that's my copyrighted work and I didn't give you permission for it. I'm not going to come after you for it, but I'd appreciate, you know, something like that would have been
like
no,
a
he wrote,
nice, calm person.
He wrote like 1,000 words in a comment in our Facebook group that we barely even monitor, that somebody else had to point out to me.
And he's like harassing you publicly for something that he could have taken care of in an adult way, in an email or a phone call, or...
Oh, he also emailed us.
Oh, God. So it's just like raining Dave.
But like, I just, you know, and as I said off air, it was, the pandemic was just getting started. Local Love, as everybody knows, we've had to take a step back from it because it's not generating numbers and revenue for the project. And as I'm trying to transition into doing this closer to full time, we had to kind of triage.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what was going on. We barely knew you guys, didn't know him from anybody, and didn't want to deal with it. And then luckily enough, and I for the life of me.
And thank you for saying that, because like, unfortunately, you're not the only person. You know, like, I appreciate you saying that to me. It means a lot, because like, we were talking to a record label at the time and we got our contract sorted. We signed the contract and they dropped us because of Dave's false accusations. The whole thing about like the copyrighted material and stealing material is that Dave is saying like, listen, I wrote these songs, they're mine, but that's actually not true, because when you look at the release, there's a 2015, 2016, and 2017 release that Dave is on. We all agreed, and I have the agreement, that we were all going to be co-authors. Like, even if I pitched a song and wrote the majority of the song, everybody's still a co-author. And the reason we did that is because we decided that like, hey, like, if we put out this album and one song gets famous, we want everybody to like be praised and paid for all of their hard work, right? Because it's not just like one song. It's like, no, we all helped with this album. So my whole thing is like, bro, you were literally listed as a co-author on the physical album, on the digital album since 2015. You were listed as a co-author because you agreed to it. And now 6 years later, you have an issue? Like, come on. It's not about the copyright. It's because he won't get on with his life, you know?
Well, this is a legal term, and but it sounds like he's stalking you.
Oh, he is. Yeah. He is.
And that's terrifying.
He just found out where I lived, and he sent me a threatening letter in the mail. Like, I just gave it to my attorney. He's so unhinged. In the letter, he's like, I reported you to the FBI. I'm like, for what?
For stealing my song. The FBI's going to get right on it, I'm sure.
Like, it's insane. It's kind of like the kid like riding the bike, and then he sticks a stick in his bike, and then he's like, ow, look what you did to me. It's like, dude, you're the one who agreed with everybody that you would co-author this. So actually what he did with you guys with that copyright strike is actually illegal. So he's actually the one.
Well, he didn't file anything with like YouTube or whatever. He threatened us, saying that he was going to.
I thought he did a copyright strike on Twitch, but that could have been somebody else I'm thinking of.
I don't think he, no, because we've never received a copyright strike from Twitch.
Okay. That's good.
when we include music on YouTube, it's usually like CD Baby or whatever. And then I have to go through the hassle of being like, no. Could you please reach out to the band and confirm with the band that they that they sent us the music.
Which is the way that you do it, the proper way that
right. And
it
then
happens.
Usually when I reach out and say that, they just release the strike because they're not going to reach out to the band, and
Right.
they have no reason to doubt what I'm saying because usually the band's on the show. It take them a few minutes to look at the show. They're like, oh, wait a minute, the band's on the show. Okay.
Yeah.
But what he did was he just mad, I guess, that you got interviewed. It seemed like he was just mad that we would even associate in the first place or something. I got that kind of, that was the vibe I got. It wasn't, it wasn't that he thought like anybody was raking in the dough and then he wasn't getting his piece or anything like that. It seemed, it was creepier than that.
Exactly. And he won't stop emailing me. He won't stop contacting me. It's like, I'm married. I've moved on, like broke up with him, whatever it was, 2017. And it's like his focus and his MO keeps changing. Like every time he gets debunked and proven wrong, he changes. So like now his whole thing is, well, I'm the one who came up with the name, so it's mine. And it's like, bro, did you do the taxes? Did you do the business taxes? Did you pay the bills? Did you pay for the album? Did you do the promotion? Did you book the shows? No, you were just a guitarist. So no, you don't own the company.
And the other thing is, if he did all this great work, where's his new band?
Yes, that's it's like painfully obvious who the backbone of the band was and still is.
Right. And I think I'm one of the things that impressed me about your band members is that they were very aware of that it didn't hit their ego. It seemed like in any way that you were the band's leader. There was no, and that's probably why you get along with those guys so well. I think it's because they don't bring a big ego to the table. And I'm not saying that I mean, in the same way that maybe I bring an ego to the table because of the work, but that's you're entitled to that because of the work that you've done, and the people in your band seem to recognize that, and I was just impressed with them.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I think as long as you treat people as equals, and if you're honest and transparent, then and like it's mutual, then that's great. Like you guys can operate and work together.
And I mean, not for nothing, like kind of floating in the background of this is that you're a woman in a field where there's pretty obvious boys clubs. Obvious boys clubs. San Jose has one that we've run up against a couple times.
Yes. Unfortunately, it exists and it still exists. Very prevalent in the music scene. Very obvious in the San Jose scene.
And I think it's because it's small here, and so there's not a lot to grab, and so people are like kind of grabby, if that makes sense. Oh
yes, absolutely. Ego, like what you're saying.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
People want to like, and there's some people who are gatekeeping, but then you get to the other side of the gate and there's fucking nothing there. Like, I don't know if that,
well, I'm not like, there are people in that circle that I love. And there are people in that circle who I don't really know what to say about them. But all I'm going to say on that is that White Fuzzy Bloodbath has been around since 2015. And we have never been invited to play Sofa. I've asked, like, we're around. We would love to play. And I don't know, but after, 2015 to, 2023, 8 years, I'm kind of thinking that somebody in that circle of people doesn't like us. And I don't know why they don't like us. I have a feeling that it has to do with something about Dave, my ex-boyfriend, like spewing all these lies, blatant lies everywhere. But it just sucks. It just really sucks. And, like we're opening for Soulfly, we're opening for Rolling Coats, we're opening for Stickmen. Like we're going places. I would love to play Sofa. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we no longer go or participate in any way, and I'll just leave it at that. The people who organized the event, the media wench was fairly direct when she told them why we no longer have anything to do with them. So,
and sometimes you got to be direct,
And whatever, we don't if you guys were playing there, we'd be happy for you. Like our friends in Sweet Haya play there. Our friends Rebels Camp play there.
Yeah,
They
I
all
love
play.
Sweet Haya.
They all play there. We're not like, ooh, don't play for them. We don't, because then that's us trying to fucking be gatekeepy on something. And it's like, stop it. Go play and go rock the house. And, people go there and enjoy it. I hope the local businesses do well and all that. I just don't want anything to do with it because
It's
of the way I think maybe what happened with Ashley and them again might be because it was Ashley.
Yeah, it just sucks. It just seems to be there's something against women still. Like, like there's posters and album covers of like half naked women drawn, sometimes women getting fucked like on the album or the poster. But then all of a sudden when you have an actual woman who's like proud of herself and posting pictures and being like, yeah, like listen to my music, it's like, fuck you, bitch, go back to Instagram, simp. Like it's unreal. Yeah,
and I don't I think some of it is just outright sexist people, and then some of it is going to be people who are afraid to stand up for it because stand up for other people and be like, dude, why are you being an asshole? Because like these people have friends, these people have a sister, these people have maybe even women they hang out with, and I think that especially in a scene as small as San Jose, if you see people doing that, man, you gotta get on it. And I think that most of the bands do a pretty good job actually. One of the coolest things anybody ever said on Local Love was Jeremiah from Rebels Camp said, hey ladies, a lot of you don't come out to the shows. He's like, if you're afraid you're going to get harassed at a Rebels Camp show, you won't.
Yeah.
He's like, because you come up and you tell the band or you tell a bartender, you tell anybody that's involved in the show who's harassing you, and we're going to kick them out of the venue. I don't care if it's my friend, because you have a right to be here at these shows. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And I was like, I feel like, San Jose gets called Man Jose. And I feel like maybe the promoters and the artists all haven't done such a great job of making not just women performers, but women who want to go out to the events too, making sure they feel safe and know that they'll be like respected as a human being.
I think that, there's a lot of us, right, who want to elevate people, right? We're just trying our best. We're just human beings. So it's like, we're just trying to be creative and have fun. And then there's just kind of like the rotting apples on the cart that just kind of make it stink for everybody. But I think that as long as people focus on like, we're just human beings, like doing this together, like let's elevate each other, I think that we'll be okay. But it does suck that there's just like those gatekeepers that make it really difficult for some people,
Yeah, and I think in a scene like you live closer to San Francisco, and I think in San Francisco there's a wider variety of venues, a wider variety of promoters, and so even if that is the case, it's probably easier to navigate around that because there are also San Francisco is just a lot queerer, and than San Jose is, and I think there's just going to be a lot less like in queer spaces, just a lot less misogyny. And
I love San Jose. I grew up here. I wish that it was right now going into a more progressive, better mindset. But, we're still here, and maybe next year it'll be completely different.
Yeah. And, I just want to reiterate to you that what's happening with your ex-boyfriend from 6 years ago is horrible.
Oh my God.
And
it's insane.
I just wish we would have done the right thing and stood up for you.
Oh, thank you. Let us dive into the most insane thing he said, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, by all means.
Okay. So, trigger warning. The most insane thing that David Hottenstein has said about me publicly on social media and privately through emails and messenger and verbally is that I physically abused him, which is like such a terrible thing to like lie about, right? So of course, when people saw that, people are like, oh my God, like how horrible. Yeah, it is horrible if that was happening. Now, one of the things that came out during the restraining order case, which just happened recently, I took him to court for a restraining order, is I got the therapy notes from when we went to couples therapy because Dave was saying the therapist knew about it and the therapist diagnosed me as a narcissist. So I provided the therapy notes, our couples therapy notes, and nowhere. Nothing about physical abuse. It is all about working on communication, working on communication, working on communication, which is exactly why I told him I wanted to go to couples therapy. I was like, we need to work on our communication. So it's just like unreal and totally unhinged that this guy lied about something so awful and continues to lie, even though it's like debunked and like proof is right there. Like if somebody came to a therapist and said, hey, my significant other is physically abusing me, that therapist by law has to tell the police.
Right.
So he's
They're
like
mandatory reporters like teachers.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, the therapist knew. That never happened.
Well, what really sucks there too is that like men or people who identify as men who are partners with the people who identify as women are the victims of abuse, and because we live in a patriarchy and a rape culture, they're afraid to come forward because they don't want to be a pussy.
Right.
And so this guy's out there fucking like poisoning the well for like men who are legitimately
he's like
being
milking
abused.
that angle. It's so disgusting. Like what kind of person does that?
And it's just like I said, you know, it really poisons the well for those men who are being abused and are afraid of
So
talking about it.
So now that he's been proven to be lying, proven to be debunked, proven that he's lied under oath, now his focus is somewhere else. Now it's like, oh, he's forgotten about saying those awful things and he's trying to bury it. During the court hearing, I also provided evidence of Dave's text about him wanting to beat up one of our friends, you know, and it's like, homie, like, stop the projection. Like, leave me alone, please.
Yeah, it seems like, you know, it kind of sucks that you have to be this way, but it seems like you've been pretty resilient through all this and kind of kept your head down and kept working on the project.
It sucks.
I know it's hard.
It sucks. Thank you. It's been 6 years of dealing with this guy who won't stop bothering me, who won't stop making up lies. And, you know, a lot of people who know me know that, like, I don't really, during interviews, like, I don't really go into, like, the weeds and I don't really call names.
Well, I'm glad that you trusted us for this.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for having me and doing this with me because, like, it's gotten to the point, 6 years, I'm just like, fine. Like, I'm tired of being the professional and polite one. Like, fine. If you want to call me a physical abuser, I'm going to show the text messages that you wanted to beat up our friend. I'm going to show the therapy notes that totally debunk what you're saying. You know, he's like, there were multiple witnesses. No, there weren't. You're making it up.
Right. I mean, if there were, what are their names?
Right.
Like if I saw you, for example, just beating your partner, I would be like, yeah, actually, I saw that. You know what I mean? I would have no hesitation because you shouldn't do that.
It's been 6 years. He's like, you know, one of his witnesses is his brother. And the thing is that I have emails and text messages of this lie. Dave started it in September of 2017. And it started with, you pushed me. That was a text message. And I was like, what are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. And then the next year it was an email. You pushed me and you pushed me hard. No, I didn't. What are you talking? And so through the years, it's evolved from you pushed me to Elise was awake and threw a water bottle at my spine and caused me permanent spine damage. Like I show the progression of this lie. And exactly like, where are the witnesses? Oh, my brother's a witness. No, that never happened. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that stuff's crazy. And, you know, it's like you didn't want to deal with this in the court of public opinion, but it seems like if he's still going, I mean, even after 2 years that he came at us that way, I'm surprised that he's still, you know, what's going, like, why would you keep doing this? What's in it for him? Like,
I wish I knew the answer because maybe that would stop it. But I did talk to his roommates because I did have to do a restraining order case the other week. And his roommates basically, like, they made a statement and they said that we don't know what's wrong with him, but basically he just won't shut up about you. and he just constantly talks about wanting to destroy you. So I wish I knew the answer. Honestly, it's really scary. I am honestly like so scared he's going to show up to a show and hurt me. Like I'm so scared about that. It just is really, really weird to me, like going through all the text messages and emails and being like, wow, like I love that guy. Like to me, it's just like a completely different person. I don't know what happened to him, but he to me is really unhinged and really scary. And yeah, it sucks because like I didn't want to have to do this. I didn't want to have to air out our laundry, right? Like it's like personal things that could have been solved in other ways. But here we are, 6 years later.
Or sometimes you accept that a relationship just went bad and there's nothing to solve.
Yeah, like a normal person.
Yeah. Like I have exes who I'm not friends with. And I have exes who I am friends with.
Same.
And I'm not the ones that I'm not friends with. I'm not like, ooh, what's going on Facebook? You know what I'm saying? Like, why would I, like, who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
And then if you do run into those people, maybe you exchange some pleasantries if you don't like them and you just fucking move on. Maybe you know some of their friends and, you know, you just don't hang out with each other if you can avoid it. And like, that's just how people do it. It's, if teenagers can navigate this space, people in their 30s and 40s should be able to navigate.
You would hope
this
so,
space.
right?
There's whole teenage movies about learning how to navigate these spaces. That's like the conflict in movies about 15 and 16-year-olds. And it's stunning to me when I see it's not just him. I've seen other people do this, versions of this. Maybe yours is a bit extreme, I'm going to say, but I've seen other people do versions of this and I'm like, what's happening? What's going on here?
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some sort of obsession and yeah, I just wish I wasn't dealing with it. And it, you know, it's not just men, women do it too. Women are totally creeps too. But no, you're right. Like I'm friends with some of my exes. I'm not friends with some of my exes. It's just kind of how life goes. And you don't obsess over them and you don't try to ruin their life and you don't try to wedge yourself into their lives.
And if you're maybe not friends with somebody and you're curious what's going on with them, you could reach out to them and be like, hey, you know, we had a bad breakup. I was just wondering how you're doing. Mm-hmm. As long as like it wasn't like, you know, as long as you're doing it in a kind and it's the appropriate way to do it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's best to just leave well enough alone.
Yeah. That just brought up another memory. So we had broken up, or I broke up with him in 2017. Like I broke up with him a lot of times, but the final breakup was in 2017. And, you know, I let him know, hey, because we had a storage unit together.
Yeah.
I was like, I'll let you know when I come across some of your things, right? Because he told me that he got his stuff out, but I was like, you know, like, I'm sure. Yeah. So I came across some of his things like months later after I had taken care of the storage unit. And I texted him, I called him, I emailed him. I was like, yo, like, I have your stuff. I'm going to hold on to it for this amount of time. But you got to tell me where I'm sending it. You got to come pick it up, like something, right?
Right.
Nothing.
And I know what the next part of the story is. Can I guess?
Yeah, you guess.
She threw away my stuff.
Yes. Like, okay. A year later, he emails me and it's something like, I've set aside my ego, which is weird to say. I've set aside my ego.
That's a kind of egotistical thing to open an email with.
Yeah, like weird.
He's like, I am the humblest man in the world.
Like so weird. I set aside my ego to email you. My mom has colon cancer, which again, super serious, right? Super serious thing to say. I need that picture back of her, which is one of the things that I had emailed, texted, called about. Like, I have this picture of your mom, right? Mm-hmm. So I email him back. I'm like, bro, I am so sorry your mom has cancer. That sucks. I hope everything's okay. I hope she gets through it. I threw your stuff away. But not only that, you owe me $24,000 for the band that you were equal partners of. So can we please just talk about this? Because I've been waiting to talk about this. And he emails me back. He's like, you fucking bitch, you gaslight me. I tell you my mom has cancer and you tell me that I can't have the photo back unless if I pay you money. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, you first told him I don't have the photo. Is what?
It's been a year.
Yeah,
It's been a year. I called, I texted, I emailed, I did the proper channels. It's been a year. So anyway, it's just it's unreal dealing with this and how he like changes things around. So that's one of the things he goes around about. He's like, she stole my mom's photo and then she threw it away. And it's like, no, I didn't steal it. You packed it in a box. I told you I had it. You didn't come get it. It's gone. Sorry.
Like, I feel like if I had a bad breakup with somebody and we shared a storage unit, I would be like, we're going to close the storage unit out in 2 months. Let me know when you're going to go there
Exactly.
so we don't run into each other. Let's coordinate a little bit so that we don't end up in a fight at the fucking storage unit, and let's clear this thing out in 2 months. I wouldn't even, I'd be like, after 2 months, I'm not going to pay the bill anymore.
Right.
You went the next step and you took his stuff and you're like, hey, I'll hold on to it for you for a while if you missed anything. And you shouldn't have done that, because then it's now, because, well, I mean, you should have done that. It was the right thing to do, but now it's just more, it's more stuff that he can use where he just changes the course of events. I just don't know. I feel like, other people, out there that I know maybe have dealt with this kind of breakup and are afraid to share it.
Unfortunately, yeah.
I feel like this happens to people, and
well, I mean, look at me. I haven't shared it because I didn't want to go public with it. I literally was like of the mindset of this will go away. I'll move on with my life.
Right. And you just don't want to be part of this fucking disease that's being spread around in the music scene. You just don't want to, be known for this. Why would you want to be known for this? This would be a bad thing. Even if you're the girl who got stalked or the woman who got stalked, like that, you're the fucking lead singer of White Fuzzy Bloodbath, right? You're not the woman who got stalked.
Right. Yeah. And fortunately, I would say that, like, in my own opinion, like 95% of people who come across this like drama, they're like, oh, that's total bullshit, right? Like, they know me, they know who I am, they know I'm a stand-up person. It's just really like the 5%. Like, we were talking about like that dude bros group. Right. That have their roots in a lot of places and they know a lot of people that kind of unfortunately perpetuate and keep it alive. So that sucks. But at the same time, like, I think about really famous people, right? And like public figures and how much bullshit they need to deal with. Like, for example, like, who's that guy? Tom, the guy who did Big.
Oh, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks, yeah. There was like this rumor going around about him like eating baby fetuses, and that's why he moved to Greece.
Oh, right, and that he had the ankle monitor on. Yeah, but it was just that he had broken his ankle, and it was
so it's like kind of brace. Famous people need to deal with this shit all the time. So in the grand scheme of things, the way I am looking at it is like, you know what, band is going super well. 95% of the people are sane and actually know what's going on. And I'm just going to keep climbing that ladder. And when I'm a famous musician, there's going to be even worse lies and worse. Like, this is literally just a lesson for me to learn. And this is literally just a lesson for me to not date psychopaths, which check, because I'm married and he's amazing.
Well, shout out to your husband.
Yeah, thanks. He's amazing. His name is Colonel. I love you, Colonel.
Well, cool.
Do you have any stalkers?
I have people, because of the nature of the content we do, I certainly have people who don't like me, but they're just internet people, right?
Right.
I really, because of what you do being in the local music scene, you can't do what I've done. I firewall the content like kind of off from my life. Some of my friends come on the shows with me and I appreciate that, but I firewall it off. I don't I'll be, Mother's Day is going to happen soon, right? And we're all going to go to breakfast. I might, just to make my life easy, because I don't drive a car, I might just go spend the night at my parents' house and make sure I'm on time, or at least at the same time my mom gets there. But they're going to want to talk about like, oh, what's going on with this? And I will not tell them what we're talking about. I'll tell them generally, oh, things are going well. Thank you for all your support over the years. Thank you for helping me out as I, changed careers, that kind of stuff. But I'm not going to be like, oh, this guy who drinks his own pee found out that we were making fun of him, or you know what I mean. I don't want to talk about that shit with with my family, but and with my friends. But you unfortunately, first of all, you're being stalked in real life by a person who's spreading disease about you all over the internet, and you have to assume when he runs into people out and about, that's if he's obsessed with it, it's all he talks about. That's
all I'm hearing from people is people coming back to me and being like, yo, Dave said this about you. And I'm like, he's still talking about me.
So you can't firewall it off in that way that I can. So if I get somebody on the internet who's mad at me, I just block them.
Right.
And move on, because the odds of one of these people because we're not super popular like the majority report of the Young Turks or whatever. So the odds of one of these people that gets real mad at me living in like the Bay Area at all, much less like South San Jose, is so slim that it's not a thing that I have to worry about. Whereas maybe I had more reason to be concerned when I was a gigging DJ.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I was, still opinionated then. And, I was dating and, had my relationship trouble just like everybody else did sometimes. And maybe I had more to worry about then, but I just got lucky and nothing went fucking completely pear-shaped.
Or they're doing really, really well and they're a really good stalker.
Yeah. And that's fine. If they never know about it, then I guess what they really are is a spy. I've seen Burn Notice. I know what's going on.
Well, good. I'm glad that you're not dealing with it. And I really do hope that nobody deals with it because it sucks. Like I really never in a million years thought that I was going to be that person.
And, if you are that person and you're, afraid to talk to your friends or even people in your local community about it, I know it's hard to do it, but, it might be important. You might keep someone else from falling into the same set of trouble you did with somebody. I think that's
great that you brought that up because looking back at it, like when Dave and I broke up, it was really hard. Like I even when we broke up, like when I broke up with him, like I still really loved him, right? But it's like, this isn't good for me. Logically, I need to get away from this guy. And I went through a lot of emotions. I went through an identity crisis. It was like literally the darkest depths that I had ever been through after that. In looking back on it now that I'm like better and level-headed and in a different place, I wish I had gone to the police. I wish I did. So anybody who like is probably like resonating with anything that we're talking about, like I know it's really, really hard. Get a friend, get somebody you trust, go to the police because it will literally, instead of dealing with it 6 years later, you can just nip it in the bud and not deal with it as much, hopefully,
And there are going to be people who feel, we have to acknowledge there will be people who feel unsafe going to the police for a variety of reasons. Oh, yeah.
So maybe not the police, but maybe an attorney, right?
Right. Do something. Do something, even if it feels symbolic to you, because if it is symbolic to you, maybe it empowers you. And then maybe you even if your support network just kind of catches on, we actually need to throw a little bit more support this person's way.
Exactly.
We need to be checking in on this person. Pick this person up. We're going to take them to lunch. Just little things. It's going to change. You could change somebody's life. You could change your own life. And the people who are in your support network are helping you are going to feel good about it too. And this is leaving out of the equation the ultimate bad relationship where it's the high control dynamic where you're in a position as you leave where you don't have a support network because it was taken away from you. So we can be glad that was not the situation for you, and we can be glad that is a highly uncommon situation. But for those people, I don't know, reach out to me. Reach out to Elise. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I am all about supporting people who need the help for sure.
I'm not, people say that I, that I don't display a lot of empathy, but I would certainly be answering your emails and trying to find support networks.
I'd say you're really empathetic, actually.
Well, empathy is a set of behaviors, not just a thing that is innate to you. Mm-hmm. You have to work on it. And I've certainly gotten better at it as I've gotten older because I've, as you struggle with things in your life, you realize that maybe there were times where you could have been a little more empathetic with someone else who was struggling.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's kind of the human thing. It's as long as you are actively trying to be a better person and actively trying to, help others and be like kind, like I think that that's fine.
Also, it's important to know when to butt out.
Totally. Oh yeah.
That's again, these are case by case incidences, and you need to, anybody out there needs to
Also, like walking away from people, like just learning, like, you know what, I don't want to deal with this. Like, this is just a bad situation. Just walking away right away, like not feeling bad or not getting guilt tripped into some like dangerous or toxic relationship. Learning to walk away is really good. Even
with just acquaintances, you're like, I don't want to hang out with you anymore.
Yep.
It's funny because it seems like you feel more petty when it's an acquaintance, but it should be so much easier if it's just kind of somebody you kick it with sometimes.
It's like the unknown, right? Yeah. It's like, I don't really know this person, but bye.
Yeah. And I mean, we're having a little fun and keeping it light here, but these are important things. And I'm like I said, I don't know if you've gone and spoken with anybody else about this, but if
it's like the people who are really close to me.
Well, I mean, publicly.
You've got the first sip of tea. This is literally the first time I've gone public with this.
Well, I think you're aware of our other content. We kind of wear our politics on our sleeves around here. So it's probably why you came here. You're like, I'm going to get this is the right audience for this.
Absolutely.
So I have some other stuff here. And so I want to maybe kind of leave that there and just remind everybody that what happened to Elise is maybe happening to one of your friends. What happened to Elise is maybe happening to your brother, your sister, your neighbor. And if you just get the slightest inkling that this is happening with somebody, just check in with them. You don't have to be too invasive. You don't have to, but just check in. Be like, hey, how's everything going? What's going on?
Definitely check in with your people.
Anything going on? And I probably should do that more myself. I may check in with some friends today after this. Although I have so much fucking work to do today. So let's play another. Well, I only have your old album. Is there anything off your old album you'd like to make sure we play maybe while we take a break here?
Yeah, let's do Miss Candy. That's always a good one.
That sounds fun. All right, everybody, we're gonna take a quick break here. I'm gonna make use of the bathroom. Maybe grab myself another energy drink. This is Miss Candy off of White Fuzzy Bloodbath's album Sugar and Rock, and we'll be back in a couple more minutes with a slightly more lighthearted discussion. was Miss Candy by White Fuzzy Bloodbath. And Elise has just met Big Orange the cat.
He's the best.
He is. He's great. He's now.
He's so vocal.
Hanging around me. Yeah, he's just talking to you.
I love it.
He's just talking to you. So I want to. What? So I'm going to skip cheating at Burning Man because that doesn't sound very fun. Let's go with Guitarist OnlyFans. What is Guitarist OnlyFans?
Oh my God. So I feel like I live in a sitcom. Like I just can't make this shit up. One of our old guitarists, I unfortunately had to take to small claims court because he said that he would, like pay for the album and pay for all these things like the band rent, and he hasn't. So I was like getting my documentation and screenshots and emails and everything ready for court. And apparently he has an OnlyFans and it's right there. There's his dick. I'm like, great. Like, I don't want to see this. But the thing about it is that he incriminated himself because the posts when he posted are of events that he said that he couldn't play because he was quote unquote healing from surgery. So I'm like, oh, bro, you just incriminated yourself. Like, these are the dates you said that you couldn't play over a 3-week span. So anyway, I'm going to get my money back and I'm excited about that. But apparently, apparently now he has an OnlyFans. So now I know.
That's cool. If I was 20, I'd be on OnlyFans for sure.
Dude, I have an OnlyFans.
Very good. Very good.
You should have an OnlyFans too. Everybody should have one. It's kind of like a Facebook.
Yeah. I have the last thing I need is like one more thing to keep track of. True. But that is pretty funny. At least he's making some money and might be able to.
Right, he's making money. He can pay me back.
Okay. What is Bad Lemon on this list?
Oh, so like I said, it's just gloves off for me. And normally I like to keep it light. Normally I like to talk about the fun times, but let's talk about the pat on the head, like people just older musicians just thinking like, oh, you young band, you don't know what you're doing. So we were booked with this band called Bad Lemon, and they asked us if they could use our drum kit. And we were really honest. We were like, hey, it's a baby kit. It's dialed into our sound. We don't really share gear. It's expensive. Like if you forget something, if something breaks, no problem. We'll totally like share something with you. But as far as like, if we're not getting paid for a gig, we're going to use our own equipment and we're going to do our own thing. So anyway, they continued emailing us and being upset that we weren't going to like share kits with them. And then they decided to, behind our backs, get a different band instead of us, email us and say, hey, by the way, we replaced you. And we're like, what? Why'd you replace us? They're like, because you won't share kits with us. And we're like, really? And they're like, yeah, maybe if you were more experienced, you would understand.
So wouldn't the more experienced band...
Bro.
Wouldn't the more experienced band be emailing you offering to take care of the back line for you?
Yes.
And then you could see, then you would be able to politely decline and be like, oh, we have a certain sound. We appreciate it. Oh, actually, we'll use your guitar amp, but we're going to bring our own bass and our own trap kit.
Like either way you dice it. Like if they were offering their kit or if they wanted us to play or if they wanted to play our kit, I don't care. Don't talk down to bands when you're just like local and you're just like trying to have a good time. And the thing that I really wanted to email them back is like, bro, we've toured nationally and regionally. What are you talking about experience? But like,
you think it's because you're a woman? I think it might be because
I think so too. And it's just like,
or not maybe just that. They may also just be egotistical assholes that talk down to people, but it probably doesn't help that you're a blonde lady.
They're just like older men who are looking at our social media and being like, look at this young kids group who doesn't have experience. It's like, homies, we just opened for Soulfly.
And aren't you in your 30s?
Yeah, I am.
You're not a young kid.
I had to think about it. Yeah.
Look at these young whippersnappers
Yeah, so I just, it just was a very good example to bring up because it's like this band. First of all, their name is Bad Lemon, which I think is hilarious. And I've heard that actually we're not the only band that they did that with, but it's just that's not the dynamic you want in the scene, right? You want people to just be kind and nice and elevating, and I just thought it was unreal that they said that to us. They're like, if you had more experience, you would understand. It's like,
and also,
come
like
on.
The reason you gave them is you're like, this is a different kind of kit. It's dialed for our band. You they probably wouldn't have sounded good on it.
No, they wouldn't have sounded good on it. But also, I believe their kit was like a really insane,
Like it was an elaborate kit,
really elaborate kit. And it's like, we're playing more on like the rock and roll side. But also that they like went behind our backs and replaced us. I just want that to be an example for everybody that like, be nicer, people. Be nice to each other. Be kind. Jesus, is it so hard?
And it's not like you replied like, no, fuck you, pack your own drums.
We literally say like, thank you, but sorry, we have our own thing. And the thing is, like, people have shown up to shows, right, and like accidentally like forgotten their snare or like their pedal breaks or whatever.
Like,
and it's like, oh
you.
yeah, like here, use my thing, of course. But having that sort of like, we're talking about ego, man, there's no room for ego in the scene. Come on.
At least not in San Jose. That's like, I feel like, and don't get me wrong, most of the bands are actually out there to try to help the other bands out.
Sure,
like
absolutely.
Like off the top of my head, like right now, Sweet Haya just doing a great job of making sure to like lift up other bands. When they're at a show, if they're playing last, they're there first. They're hanging out. They're coming up telling me about the band if I don't know about the band, and they're just all like such wonderful people. We've had such a great relationship with them.
Those are the people you keep close.
Other acts that have been that way for us. Rebels Camp has generally been a very, very cool band, very, very forward thinking, progressive, also like improvisational kind of jazz, hip hop, funk it's my jam. I can think of like the guys from Satabria are very cool people.
Yeah.
Curtis from Monkey is always trying to help everybody out.
I love Monkey.
Right.
I love all those dudes in that band. They're amazing. And it's so funny because like right now I'm just like dishing out the dirt. But it's because I've never done that. I'm always like talking about like, oh, I love this band. Oh, I love this person. Oh, I love this reviewer. Like whatever. I'm always like in the positive. This is literally the first time I am just like, bleh, like vomiting this stuff.
And it took me a while, but I can see it now. Like when somebody's promo for a band comes out, I'm like, oh, those guys think they're the shit. It's bands with all dudes, always all dudes. They're very serious about their guitars. They're very serious about their look. And by about their look, I mean, it's a little dated, a little dated, a little kind of dated. Maybe the guys are a little older. And I just see that and I'm like, I bet these people, they probably, this is a brand new band. I bet they just come out ego first. And about half the time I'm right. And it's like, and then half the time I'm wrong and they're all just totally nice. And that's just sort of an aesthetic that, that sells or whatever. Like, these guys from, one of the last people we had on the old format, Vague Lanes, that was their aesthetic. And they were just the fucking sweetest guys I've ever
really
met.
Yeah.
And so, but there's definitely a look and I'm like, oh, you think you're playing in Hollywood in 1988. You think you're Guns N' Roses and you're not.
You know what band you should look into that I've been really into lately, and they're local. They're called Gosh. They're really fresh, really new, super cool kids. Definitely check them out.
Have you heard or seen Family Obligation?
No, I haven't.
They're like I guess pop. They're like a pop band.
Okay.
They're so good.
I can dig it.
And I'm not even sure I'm describing it correctly. The Kyle, who was in NVS, Kyle.
Yeah. Kyle Lester.
Yeah, he's their bassist.
Cool.
Micah's their drummer. Micah's everybody's drummer. And the
Except
singer,
for he's not my drummer.
the singer she's just got so much energy, and I feel so bad because I forgot her name. But I forgot her name because I don't know her, right?
Yeah.
I just met her at there was a show at the Ruffies record release party.
Cool. I'll have to check him out.
Family, they were just amazing. She had so much energy. The guitarist was unknown to me, so I don't know his name either. But they were very cool, very kind of, I guess, a little bit punk rock, but definitely just like a pop band, but not like soul funk pop. It's a little bit of a throwback to like early 2000s, sort of. But there was like kind of elements of like doo-wop, and that's why I'm calling it pop, because there's elements of all kinds of popular music. I think we're having them on soon, so if they listen to this, maybe they'll come scold me, be like, we're not a pop band. Fuck you, Dave.
Yeah, totally. There's a band that's coming through. They're called Psychotic Reaction. They're from Norman, Oklahoma. I think they're going to be in at the end of May. They're playing Winter's Tavern in Pacifica, and they're playing somewhere in Albany. Totally recommend seeing them. There's some really dark, super groovy, like, exactly, like, how do you describe these bands? Like heavy psych, heavy rock, a little bit of punk, super trippy, super dark. I love it. So I would recommend them also.
One of the downsides, actually, of having gone full time on Twitch is because we are the #1 politics stream late at night, I don't go out as much.
Totally. I hear that.
I like have to plan instead of, oh, let's go to the van. I have to be like, well, how am I going to arrange things so I don't not only disrupt the income flow, but like just disrupt the overall flow?
Mm-hmm.
Because unfortunately people, and I don't know if it's good, there may be some bad sort of parasocial shit going on here too, but people tune in every night, right? There's different people, but it's the same core group of people. And so, if you disrupt that, like if I go out Friday, Saturday, and then take a Sunday off because I'm off Monday and Tuesday from streaming, I have to think about what that's doing to Wednesday.
Yeah, people are very like habitual.
Yeah, and and there's some, like I said, I try really hard not to be personal with the people, not to like get to know them.
Mm-hmm.
Why am I telling you this? You're a woman in music, for fuck's sake. You know what I'm talking about, right? You don't want to get too friendly with some of your fans.
There's totally that fine line. And actually, I was reading some sort of article, maybe it was an interview recently, where somebody on Twitch, they were a streamer, like what you're saying, and they were saying, don't get too personal with the people who view you, because then it kind of gets awkward sometimes, where they'll like gatekeep you in the chat. They'll be like, oh, well, I know the streamer and I know that they would say this, and then it gets awkward. But yeah, like for me personally, there is a fine line where, like, I think this goes without saying, but our band really focuses on elevating others and being social. Like social is one of those things that is kind of like phasing out, especially in this like digital and VR world. Like, yeah, you're like communicating with people, but are you like present? Are you like physically around them? So our band really tries to focus on like the group and the club. And when I'm at a show, I go out of my way to say hello to everybody that I recognize. But yeah, like you can't get too deep. There's that fine line. Like I don't tell people where I live. We have a PO box. I don't tell them personal details about my life. Like most of them don't even know what my husband looks like.
If I was dating someone, I would never talk about it.
Yeah.
On stream, partially because there's some people who might leave because they have, they have some they're watching. Some people are attracted to me, right? That's why they watch. They've outright said it.
Definitely.
And so that's kind of fucked up and egotistical, but also like there's just, you have to like, it's not like either of us just didn't hear hella famous or whatever, but you still have to, if there is a public you have to protect the private you.
Hell yeah.
And it's unfortunate that sometimes that becomes impossible. Sometimes that's impossible. Like if I had a bad breakup and somebody just started spreading disease about me all over Discord and fucking Twitter, where I'm a real real piece of shit
I
on
will
Twitter.
help you through it
You will-
if
I will
and when
call-
that
I will
happens.
call you-
Hopefully not.
I will
Hopefully
call-
not. But
I do a lot of hooking up, so I don't think I have too much to worry about right now. But we have a couple other things here, but what I wanted to do, I think we're a little bit long on the pod, so what I want to do is
Sure.
put out we have a couple other that I want to get to. One of them's we'll get to both of these here. But that'll be for my patrons, and of course you'll have access to it, and you can do whatever you want with this afterward.
Cool.
We're gonna play another one of your songs. Maybe I'll pick one. I like the name Clifford the Gravedigger.
yeah.
But before we get out of here, because this is where like the Spotify and the YouTube's going to cut off. You can remind people where to find you. Where would you like them to follow you? Where's the best place for them to get your album, etc.
Yeah, I would say, your platform of choice, just type in White Fuzzy Bloodbath. We're everywhere, but also just come to our shows. We're a good time. Hang out with us, get our merchandise, join the club, get the fuck hoodie. It's only for club members. And yeah, I thank everybody for tuning in and hanging out.
And we'll be back for patrons in a couple minutes. Consider joining our Patreon or our membership at eplex.store. You get the same kind of content there because a little more tea's going to get spilled here. Just a little bit more. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
If you like what we're doing at Echoplex and aren't into Twitch, please join our Patreon at patreon.com/Echoplex. For $5, you can get every show from beginning to end sent to you as an MP3, even the stuff we bleep out because it's too spicy for Twitch. Echoplex would not be where we are today if it wasn't for the community support we receive. Find out all the ways you can support the show at echoplexmedia.com/support.